Hello, once again, ladies and gents. It's Tom here from the West Ham Faithful. I'm here with the review of the West Ham Leeds game that happened last night. Before we get into it, if you like the channel, my stuff, hit the like button, hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever I upload a video, and subscribe to the channel, man. Anyway, before we get started, I'd like to say a little something about David Gold. Now, as we've all heard, he passed away yesterday morning. I didn't find out till about 6 o'clock, where one of my mates messaged me on Facebook saying that if I've heard, and I hadn't. And now, one thing I will say is he's not been well for a long time. Not a long time, but there's always been stories here and there. Oh, David Gold's gone into hospital. Or David Gold's just, that's why he hasn't been seen at games and stuff like that. So he was obviously getting on. He was an 86-year-old man, lifelong West Ham fan, lived on Green Street, had, I believe, his first shop opened on Green Street. A legend to the British prawn industry, to be honest. So he's left a legacy. My heart goes out there to his family anyway. And it's very, very sad news. So rest in peace, David Gold. One thing it does bring me to think about, though, is what's going to happen with his shares. Does this cause an issue with us selling the club, or will it make it easier, or will it now make David Sullivan want to put his feet up and enjoy the rest of his life? I don't know. But the pretense of it all is that Daniel Kretinsky is going to be buying the rest of the shares, and he will be the sole owner of West Ham. So let's just see what happens, I suppose. Yes, it's a shame, because out of the three, Karen Brady, David Sullivan and David Gold, I feel amongst the West Ham fans that the West Ham fans liked David Gold the most. I mean, even when things weren't going too great and like West Ham fans were stopping him in his car and stuff like that, there was still a large amount of fans that says, like, there's no need for it, he's an old man sort of thing, do you know what I mean? Regardless of how you feel he's running the club. And let's all be fair, we all feel that David Gold is just more of the investor. I think obviously he had to give his say-so on certain things, but I think most things were just left down to David Sullivan. Yeah. Moving on to the match last night, and there were multiple changes. I believe we had Tilo Kehrer start at left back, Fabianski in goal. Craig Dawson and Naif Agurd got his debut, and Kufal at right back, with centre defensive midfield partnership of Thomas Souček and Declan Rice, with Ben Rama being replaced on the left with Fornals, Skamaka starting up front and Bowen starting on the right. Oh, Paqueta in behind as a number 10, I suppose. Yeah, so the start of the game was, we started strong. We were trying to go on the front foot. We looked like we were trying to play with intent. We were winning a lot of second balls. I mean, there was nothing too much to shout about until Leeds scored their first goal, which we knew it was going to happen. West Ham concede first all the time. And yeah, it was frustrating. After they scored, they had a lot of momentum. It looked like it was pretty much all Leeds. And then we had we had a run of play, multiple runs of play in a short amount of time just before the half time whistle, and during this in particular attack, it come down the wing. Gianluca Scamacca found himself out wide. He's cut in, passed it into the middle of the box. It weren't intended for Bowen, but Bowen found himself getting himself sandwiched in between two defenders and gets taken out. And it was a penalty, even though the referee didn't give it on the face of it. He had good vision to see. I don't know how he didn't give it. He got sent to the monitor. After a couple of looks, he gave it. And as Benrahma wasn't on the pitch, we had Paqueta step up for the penalty, and he calmly takes it. It's a good penalty. The West Ham fans were singing his song. Now they've been waiting for fucking so long to sing. But yeah, it was nice to actually hear the West Ham fans in good voice after equalising. None of us are happy with the managerial situation at the moment, and the annoying thing is there's still a few people out there that are so narrow-minded and so loyal to what David Moyes has done. And like, don't get me wrong, what he's done has been great, but there's still a few people out there. I get comments on when I post this on Facebook by certain people that are like, "Oh, give it a rest. We can't get no one better." Unfortunately, I believe we can, and a lot of others think we can, and you're the minority, so that's your problem. But when people, what annoys me most is when people get the ump with other people talking about it. It's a hot topic at the moment. David Moyes shouldn't be in a job. But anyway, we've gone in 1-1 at half time. I felt a little bit better at half time after scoring a penalty, personally. I felt like it was a 50-50 half. And given how we were playing, I didn't think we deserved to be losing, to put it bluntly. But anyway, we come out in the second half and we come out fit and firing. We were going on one. What can you say? Gianluca Scamacca found himself just outside the box. Has a go. He did pretty much the same thing against Brentford, but it was saved. This time, it's gone into the bottom corner. It was a good goal. I went nuts. My kids went nuts. Yeah. Very good goal. But then, I mean, it was very much 50-50 after the goal. And then we started to find ourselves on the front foot for about a couple minutes spell. And then David Moyes brings on, I believe, Aaron Cresswell and Antonio about the 68th, 70th minute. And I just believe them changes took the sting out of the game, because you've taken off Gianluca Scamacca, and Gianluca Scamacca was putting himself about. He was linking up with Paqueta very well. That's someone who I haven't spoken about. Paqueta, best game. I know I mentioned he scored, but it was his best game in a West Ham shirt. The geezer was, yeah. I like the way he's very physical, and it's easy to think he's cutting a frustrated figure, but it's naturally the way he plays. He's a very physical player. He likes to get up and close. He won't allow you to try and dribble past him. He will stick in the foot, and I like that about him. But a lot of people think because he was playing like that and he hasn't been playing exactly well, that it was because he was getting frustrated. I don't believe so. I don't think he was getting frustrated. I just think that was just the way he was playing. But anyway, last night, the geezer was superb. Played a brilliant match yesterday. And yeah, well done to Lucas Paqueta. And hopefully many more goals to come. But yeah, so we've made them changes. I felt it took the sting out of the game. Cresswell and Kira basically swapped sides, and Antonio went up front. And Antonio just, I don't know, he don't look at it. He don't look sharp. He looks better when him and Scamacca were on the pitch together against Brentford, but he still weren't all that then. He had a decent opportunity in that game, but yeah, I ain't really got much to say about Antonio. He didn't really do anything. Moving on, Leeds break, I think it was a couple of passes. Rodrigo, I believe his name is Rodrigo, found himself on the edge of the box, takes a crack, very similar to Scamacca's goal, and scores. I believe Scamacca's goal was better because it was more into the corner. It was harder for the goalkeeper to save. I think Ariola's saving that. And although I believe he could have saved that, the last thing for me to talk about in the last 15 minutes odd was a really good opportunity for Leeds, and right at the end of the game where Fabianski makes a fantastic save. Absolutely fantastic. Leeds could have won that game. But thinking about it, I think the reason why we were 2-2 was because of Fabianski. So he redeemed himself in that sense. Because you wouldn't begrudge him if that had gone in. Because it was a very good opportunity. Leeds should have scored, but Fabianski made a really good save. You couldn't begrudge him for letting that in, but you can for not making that save. That's just my opinion though. Anyway, let's go on to my player ratings. Oh, Ben Rama come on just before the end. He didn't really, he had a couple of half chances, but yeah, that's about it from the game. It was very action-packed. It was very end-to-end. I don't believe neither team played well, and both teams were as bad as each other. I believe the points fair. But it's frustrating me now. It's really starting to frustrate me. I said I wasn't going to watch the Leeds game when I had the amp after the Brentford game, but lo and behold, I watched the game, didn't I? Every fucking minute of it. It's just fucking depressing, man. But yeah, let's move on to the player ratings. Let's start off with Fabianski. What can I really say? At fault for the second goal, in my opinion. Fantastic save at the end of the second half. Give him a 5. Now, let's move on to who started at left back, and that's Thilo Kehrer. Shocking. Now, I was full of high hopes with Thilo Kehrer. I don't know what's going on with him. Like, he doesn't seem like a fullback that has an abundance of quality going forwards. He hasn't got an abundance of quality in defence either. Players get past him far too easily. He had a shocking game. And although I never mentioned it during the game, there was more than a couple of opportunities. He got skinned. He gets a 3. I think that might be the lowest I've ever given anyone on one of my player ratings. Thilo Kehrer gets a 3. Terrible. Maybe it was because he was out of position, but moving on into the second half when Aaron Cresswell ended up coming on, he did the same mistakes on the right-hand side as well. What is his position? Like, he plays centre-back, he makes mistakes, gives away penalties. Plays right-back, just as bad. Left-back, even worse. But yeah, anyway, moving on to Naif Aguerd. He had a good game for his first first team full debut. He had a good game and he lasted 90 minutes. I was happy with his performance. Solid. He's closed up a lot. He did get skinned once, I think, in the second half, where I was a little bit disappointed that the player got past him. But other than that, he's just come back from injury, lost a lot of weight because he was ill or whatever. But yeah, Nigel had a good game, in my opinion. I don't normally do 0.5s on this, but I don't know whether to give him a 6 or a 7 because he weren't. If he didn't get skinned, he would have got a 7, so I'm going to give him a 6. Moving on to Craig Dawson. Craig Dawson does what Craig Dawson does. The ball comes in the box, he's going to nut it away. Kept his positioning well. No silly tackles. One thing I was a little bit upset not to see is one of them passes, man. Craig Dawson normally has one or two of them a game. One of them good long through passes. Didn't have one yesterday. Craig Dawson gets 6. He didn't really put a foot wrong. Other than he could have got closer to Rodrigo for the second goal. But yeah, I'll give him a 6. Now, Sufal, right back. An okay game. I mean, I believe Somerville should have got sent off in the second half for his challenge on him. It was high. And fucking, yeah, you saw when he come off, all the bruising. And yeah, it didn't look nice. Yeah, he had a half-decent game. I can't remember him getting done. Really, he played an alright game. He gets a 5. It's just because I think he didn't really stand out other than getting fouled and he almost kicked someone in the head at one point. But yeah, moving on to Thomas Souček. Thomas Souček was winning a lot of balls in the air. He was trying. I don't know. I'm a bit confused because at times it was like him and Paqueta were swapping places. It was like, I remember at one point in the first half you had Jared Bowen on the right, Scamacca up front. Fornals was a little bit further back, but Thomas Souček was sitting behind Scamacca, so it was like, I don't know, it was a bit strange to see. I was kind of bewildered why he was so high up. But it didn't exactly backfire. He didn't play exactly necessarily well. I must say, his passing was a bit better yesterday. Yeah, he had an alright game. I'll give him a 5. Declan Rice does what Declan Rice does. What more can you say? He had a good game. Nothing too special. No moments in the top of my mind that kind of stick out. With Declan Rice, he gets 6. Then Lucas Paqueta. Most of our attacking threat came through him. He was linking up well up front with the other players. He was tackling. He was putting himself about. Got his first goal for the club. For that reason, he gets a 7 from me. He gets a 7, which is the highest marker today. Moving out to the left wing-ish, Pablo Fornals. Pablo Fornals had a good game as well. Put himself well about. Yeah, in the first half, he was really impressing me. He looked like a player that wanted to play. He was fighting for the shirt. Very, very, very happy with his contribution yesterday. And for that reason, he gets a 7 as well. Moving out onto right wing, Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen won the penalty. Other than that, he didn't really do much. He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have the best of games. But he did it, yeah. He done better than average. He had a good game, to be fair. Yeah, I'll give him a 6, just because I felt like Pablo Fornals and Paqueta had more of an impact on the game than what Bowen did. Obviously, Bowen won the penalty, which technically gives him the assist. But yeah, he could have done better in certain. I think his positioning was poor at times. But yeah, not too bad. Can't really complain about Jared Bowen's performance. Now that leaves Gianluca Scamacca. I like this guy. I just like the way he puts himself about. We can't really say he's lazy and he don't run, because last night I saw him chase needless balls back to the goalkeeper, forcing him to kick the ball out quickly, which I believe is something that this is something that they've thought about and they've discussed. They want to put pressure on the keeper to get them to think on their toes and just kick the ball out anywhere, on the off chance that he's either going to kick it out for a throw-in on their end of the field, or he kicks it to one of our players, which then puts the goalkeepers then like, fuck, I've just passed it to them and they're on the attack and they've high press. Yeah, Skamaka done well yesterday, scored his goal. I was very impressed with that. I believe it's his third goal in the Premier League this season. He needs to get more than that. I was expecting him to, but the team hasn't been performing. If they were performing, I can guarantee he would have scored more goals. But yeah, moving on to the subs, we have Aaron Cresswell. Yeah, I don't know. I believe we were inviting him on more once him and Antonio come on. He gets a 5 just because, yeah, he went on for long, I suppose. No, he gets 4, 5. 5, yeah, no, won't be evil. 5. Antonio, I believe, was just, yeah, he's off the boil. He don't look half the player he was last season, or even quarter of the player the season before that. Yeah, I want him to do well, but it's like he's not really giving Moyes much of an option but to keep on picking Skamaka up front, because he's coming on with 20 minutes to go and he's not even making an impact. A physical striker, I know it happens sometimes when you've only got 20 minutes of the game, it's hard to get into it, but after they came on, we conceded a goal and they looked more likely to be the team to walk away with the 3 points towards the end of that game. But yeah, Antonio gets a 4. Ben Rama, yeah, he done alright in his time. He had more of an impact than both Antonio and and Aaron Cresswell. So I'm going to give him a 5, just on the face of it. But anyway, that's it for me today. Depending on the time I do my next video which is going to be having my older brother and his opinion on the managerial situation at this minute. And yeah, hopefully, if it's before the game against Wolves, we'll upload, it will be a preview. If it's after, it'll probably be a review. But yeah, till next time, guys. Till next time, if you like what you've seen from me, and you are going to see me next time, like the video, hit the subscribe button, bell notification so you get notified whenever I upload a video. Just give me your opinions if you disagree with any of the points I've made. In the comments, it all helps spread my video and get my video seen by other West Ham fans that want more and more West Ham content just like you. But yeah, till next time, guys, come on you irons.